Hello, ladies and gentlemen, it's me again, and I'm back. Well, in this video, self-explanatory, right in the title. I'm just gonna go with it. No introductions, none of that stupid crap some of the other channels do. I'm just gonna get into it. All right. Now, this this big issue that's going around about these monuments, and these flags, and all that mess is ridiculous. Firstly, just ridiculous. All right. You have a piece of stone and bronze that's been sitting in front of the courthouse for over 100 years, and now all of a sudden it's a problem after 100 and I don't know, like 110 years, 115 years of sitting there. Suddenly, that piece of stone is the source of everyone's problems. Just like down in New Orleans. General Lee stand on top of a gigantic pedestal in Lee Square in New Orleans was a big issue, and they removed that. And then suddenly all the problems that New Orleans was facing, drugs, human trafficking, violence in the streets, all that somehow magically disappeared, went away. Like, removing that solved everyone's problems down there, when in reality, it didn't solve anything. New Orleans just last year, as a matter of fact, surpassed Chicago in the nation's leading homicide rate by firearms, mind you. There's just so many things that we as a country could talk about and debate and get our panties into a twist. There's so many different things we could argue about, but yet a monument that's been sitting somewhere for over 100 years is suddenly everybody's problem. Look, removing these monuments, whether you like it or not, in the end, all you're doing is removing a war memorial. That's what they are. That's what a vast number of them are. They're memorials. Would you go into a cemetery and remove somebody's memorial? No. Or at least those of you that have the good sense not to. There was a situation developing very recently over in Dallas. They want to remove a Confederate monument from a cemetery where a lot of Confederate veterans are buried at. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. No, they don't want to remove it. They want to destroy it. Not just remove it, destroy it. They want to blow it up. They want to have a freaking demolition crew come in and blow it up. In a cemetery. In a cemetery. Just let that sink in for a little bit. Another thing about these monuments. The thing with it, another thing about these monuments is this. When these monuments were erected, they were put up by people who had lost sons, brothers, nephews, cousins, uncles, fathers, husbands in the war. many of which, many families never even knew what the hell happened to their family member that literally just didn't come back home. And this sort of thing is real close to home for me because I have my great great second cousin James West. He was killed somewhere near Petersburg and was probably dumped into a mass grave somewhere and buried, probably very near to where he fell. And my family, only until about 2, 3 years ago, never knew what happened to him. We never knew. Only until very recently do we know what happened to him. Before then, we just knew he just didn't come back home. He just didn't come home. You know? And there was a monument up at the courthouse next county over from me. And it bears the names of the men from that county who were killed in action or who had died during the war. And one of the names on there is my ancestor's name, James West. Now, who's to say that some of the people in that county that are not from there just happen to move there and see that monument's there and they get offended by it. And they call it a symbol of slavery and racism and all that crap. Who's to say that's not going to be offensive to somebody, you know? And that would be a slap in the face of my family and me. Because that's our flesh and blood that's immortalized on that monument. A lot of times, and look, most of y'all need to understand this about this whole monument thing. A lot of times when these monuments were put up, these monuments were the only headstones that some people ever got for their family. And removing these monuments is basically akin to removing somebody's headstone. You wouldn't go into a cemetery and remove a headstone because you think it's offensive now, would you? No. I would think that anybody in their good sense wouldn't do that. This is a photograph of the Confederate Veterans Reunion that was held in the next county over from me. And this is the monument behind them. Now, if they remove that monument, it is basically pretty much a FU to all of them, their comrades that never came home, me, and my family. And it's like some people are like, well, you need to respect how other people feel. Well, what about my feelings? What about me? You know, it's like, why do I have to bend over and kiss somebody else's ass just because they're offended by something that's been around for 100+ years? You know, these monuments have never hurt anybody, never caused any kind of trouble. They're just there. You know, it's an inanimate object. Leave it alone. You know, and the people that want these monuments removed They don't understand what that's part of it. They just don't understand. And the other part of that is they just don't care. Why am I supposed to care about somebody else's feelings when they don't care about mine in the first place? Why should I be forced to make a compromise with people over a memorial to one of my ancestors? Why? I mean, nobody else in this country is being made to make compromises on their own flesh and blood, except for Southerners. And you know, the very definition of compromise is to give up something. It's for both sides to give up something, of one argument, to give up something in return for the other side to give up something. There's key words there. Give up. I'm supposed to compromise on my flesh and blood? No. No, I won't do that. As long as people that aren't even from the state that I'm from, Virginia, come here and dictate to me how they're telling me how their feelings are hurt about something that's been here for over 100 years, and how I should feel ashamed or something because of it. No. And see, that's the problem. A lot of the people that say these things about the monuments, they're either not even from here, or they're freaking, or they're what I like to call transplanted Yankees. People that take pride in calling themselves Southern, but completely disavowing a part of our culture. You know? It ain't right. You don't tell somebody that they're a racist and a bigot just because of things like a monument or a flag, you know? Don't do that. And you especially don't come down into somebody else's land and tell them how they should live. Historically, Southerners do not like that sort of thing. And the only way these people are going to understand that is if all of the Southern heritage groups from all over the South come together and say to these people, we are not going to let you do this. If every single Southern heritage organization got together and put up a big one of these on the side of the highway somewhere as a big cue to people from out of state, and until these people put up new monuments, they're not going to understand why we're so pissed off. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of scrolling down Facebook or the news, or having somebody tell me about these things that's going on, and just being confronted with the amount of stupidity in these people. There was an incident that happened a couple months back here in Virginia over a roadside battle flag that a group called the Virginia Flaggers put up. Mind you, this is on private property. They had some people in the county up there go to the county board and demand them to step in and force somebody exercising their First Amendment rights to take down a flag that they have the very right to put up in the first place. It's like the only rights that matter are theirs. It's like our rights don't matter either. They don't care. They would do literally anything and everything that they could possibly do to erase almost an entire part of our country's history. And they've been saying about these monuments and whatnot, put it in a cemetery, put it in a museum, do this, do that. Well, the next time somebody tells me to put a monument or a flag in a museum, I'm going to look them in the eye and I'm going to tell them, you a damn liar. Because that's what they are. They're all liars. They will lie, cheat, and steal to get what they want. And they keep saying, put the monuments in the cemeteries. Look what they're doing in Dallas. They're not even removing it. They're going to destroy it. And you know, I can only think of two groups of people from recent history. No, three groups of people from both recent history and past history that go out and openly destroy monuments. ISIS, the Taliban, and the Nazis. Which, here's another thing. Apparently there's this new thing where if you disagree with these people that are against the flag and the monuments, they'll call you a Nazi. What? And they hate history. No, I'm going to tell you how it is. They hate America is what they hate. It's not about the flag. It's not about the monuments. It's about America. They hate America, and that's something that represents America to them. So what better way to destroy a culture's identity to easily subvert, to easily oppress them by destroying their history and their culture. There was a man that said once, and if any of y'all in the comments can give me the name of that man that said this, you get brownie points from me. There was a man that said once, the best way to destroy a people is to eliminate or erase their history, thereby eliminating and erasing their identity. If you go after part of a culture's identity, that's how you can easily conquer them. And again, like I said it before, it's not about the flag or the monuments. It's about America. They hate America. There's some college students up in New York, I think, that want a monument to Thomas Jefferson removed because he owned slaves. There's some people down in the University of Virginia, a university that he founded, by the way. They want to have Jefferson's monument there removed as well. And then there was a high school where a girl and about 2, 3, 4 other people got together and they want the name of the high school to be changed. Well, the high school's name is James Madison High School, named after James Madison. Now, my thing is these people, they should be more grateful to those two men. James Madison was actually and was actually the man that gave us the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. I find it ironic how people are offended by a monument or a name to men that gave us this country. You know, it really irks me. I don't understand how you could. I don't understand how you could even possibly do that within good conscience. You know, it's wrong and it shouldn't happen. Sooner or later, and mark my words, this flag will be banned at reenactments. Sooner or later, you mark my words on that. You know, I think I've said this before, so, and probably not in this video, but I know I've said it before. Our history is important because without the many mistakes and hardships and trials we have had to face in our past, who would we be as people today? Where would we be? What would we do if we had no past? Same thing with countries. If a country didn't have a past, who are they as a people? You know? Our history is important. So I suggest y'all go around, do y'all's research. Read as many books as you can on this subject. From both sides of the argument. And then develop your own opinion based upon that. And another thing I wanted to talk about was when these county or city governments sit down and they decide that this old monument down the street here is offensive and it hurts people's feelings and it should be removed. They don't care how it affects people that want it to stay there. So they don't do anything like a vote on it or poll or anything like that. They just sit down in their little meeting rooms before town hall meetings and they say, well, we want to vote on this. We're going to remove the monument. Yeah, okay, we're going to remove the monument. It's like, screw what everybody else thinks. Screw everybody else's opinion but yours. And another thing about this is this. I've said it earlier. These people will cheat, lie, and steal to get what they want. You know, back in 2000, and admittedly I was not around for that. Well, I was, but I was very little. That's beside the point. Back in 2000, they had the big issue with the flag on top of the State House dome down there in South Carolina. One side was saying, that's racist, tear it down. And another other side was saying, leave it up, it's part of our state's history, it's cool, leave it alone. And then they said, look here now, let's compromise on this. We'll take down the flag, but it will remain on the State House grounds, and unless the state legislature comes together and votes to remove it, it cannot be removed. We agreed on it, and took the flag down and moved off the State House dome. Just down the way a little bit. Left it there. Until scumbag rolled up in a church somewhere and murdered 9 people. Well, because said scumbag had pictures of him with the flag tucked away somewhere, they were like, oh, we should remove that flag. Oh, well, the first thing they said was, why is it not at half-mast? Well, it couldn't have been at half-mast because the only way it comes down is if it comes down all the way. And that's what they did. They took it down. You know, these people, when they hear the word compromise, they think about how much they can get. You take, and then they take, and then they take, and until we take, and there's nothing more to take. I saw an article recently that was entitled, Arlington is filling up. Should Confederates make way for more room? Basically, in case you live under a rock, the Arlington they're referring to is Arlington National Cemetery, in which is a sizable number of Confederate graves. They were saying that Arlington National Cemetery is filling up. So basically, to make room, somebody suggested that they dig up the Confederates. Great. Yeah, I'm going to leave links to all of that crap so you can see for yourself down below. Why would you even suggest digging up somebody? Why would you even suggest doing something like that? Who does that? Who goes, well, Arlington is overflowing with graves and it's kind of running out of room, so let's dig up the Confederates and put them somewhere else. Which is funny because I don't remember reading anything in the article about any suggestion on where to put all of those guys at. Or where did they go? You know? And another thing for me with that is I'm kind of torn on that. You might be saying, well, Johnny, why are you torn on that? You know, shouldn't they be left alone? Blah, blah, blah. And my thing is, yes, on one hand, I want them to rest where they lay, where they were buried. But then, on the other hand, I would like to see them put somewhere where they could properly be honored, you know, and not ignored. Because Arlington National Cemetery isn't famous for its Confederate graves. It's famous for the graves of American servicemen, not Confederates. Hell, it's just me. I hope that they stay where they're buried at, on one hand, but then on the other hand, I would like to see them move somewhere where they could properly get the respect and the honor that they deserve. Leave the monuments alone, okay? You know, it's just this really all we want, the people that fly this flag, all that we want is to be able to fly our flags and visit our monuments. That is really the end all be all for us. That's all we want. Whereas they want to tear down our flags and our monuments and tell us that we're a bunch of racist bigots for having them. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this video has already have gotten too long. So, this has been Johnny Reb, ladies and gentlemen. And I bid you all a good evening, and good night, and good morning, or afternoon, or whatever it is, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this video. Peace, man. I mean, guys. Peace. Again, before I sign off here, just leave the monuments and the flags alone. Let us fly them. Let us have our monuments, man. Because it's really all we want. So, again, peace.